Everybody, and welcome back to the Come Play podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk about the Eagles-Falcons game. We're going to talk about
Damn right.
the new Fortnite update, and we're going to talk about our Week 1 predictions for the NFL. With me today, I have Bobby.
Yeah.
Brendy.
I'm locked and loaded.
And Zach.
What's good, fellas?
All right, so let's start off with this Eagles-Falcons game. I'm going to pass the baton to Brendy right away, because him being a Falcons fan, and let him just go off. So go ahead.
All right, let me finish everything I have to say before you guys make a comment, okay?
Already,
Because
it comes out.
I'm serious. Okay. First of all, from a Falcons fan standpoint, this was probably the worst Falcons game I think I have ever seen, and it's not even close.
Hold up. You're not just gonna say that just over the Falcons Patriots.
Yes, because at least that game was competitive. This game was dull, boring, had nothing going for it. Neither team should have won. And by the way, the Falcons, they played like the fucking Browns last night. Let me give you my list of grievances. Let me start with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, the 2016 season ended, and you were the MVP. I appreciate all the hard work and effort that you gave in that Eagles game, but stop giving your best Deshaun Kaiser impersonation. Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Neither of you guys did anything productive. Is this what I'm supposed to expect from a duo that was considered one of the best running back duos in the NFL the past couple of seasons? If it is, you're not getting paid. Mohamed Sanu, congratulations. You made 2 game-saving catches. One of which basically looked like it was thrown by a bowler in cricket, and Philly was dumb enough not to challenge it. The offensive line. You're rated as one of the best offensive lines coming into the season by multiple sources. Why aren't I saying that? You basically let the quarterback get sacked about 10 times. That's an understatement, it feels like. Special teams. Good job on keeping up with the tradition of getting a penalty every fucking punt and kickoff. And to everyone I didn't mention, you didn't even warn to mention because you already know what I have to say. That includes you, Steve Sarkisian. All right, I'm done.
That was great.
God damn.
Let me just remind everybody that was the first game of the season. So
first game of the season was probably the worst game of the season.
Yeah, I
probably got
say,
15 more of those coming from Brendy.
You're right, Zach. I promise you. God.
As a neutral who watched the whole game, that was pretty tough to watch. And it doesn't help that it was the first game of the season because then it's like, what do we have? What's the rest of the season going to be like? The big takeaway for me is how many penalties there were that game. It was like every play, it felt like there was a flag. There was 16 penalties in the first half and 26 for the whole game. And like it was, some of those penalties, it was just like bad calls too. Like the one I wanted to talk about real quick was the one drive in the game where the Falcons got the roughing the passer penalty for driving the quarterback into the ground, which, okay, don't get that. And then like it was like either the play after or 2 plays later, you had the holding call, which was not holding. And it's like, you're already throwing so many flags a game. You're going to like add weak ass calls too. Like, I don't know. I wasn't impressed by the refs last night, and also just the players being idiots and taking really dumb penalties. But that was my big thing.
Impressed by the refs in the fucking NFL, dude.
Well, no, I mean, there was just I also, not to mention, I think the NFL rule makers are just like a bunch of pussies because the calls that they're making the refs, what they're telling the refs to make, it's like, I know it's all about this injury stuff, and I get that, but like. Some of this isn't even football at this point. Like what I'm watching is just it's not good. But yeah, that was my big takeaway last night.
How the hell did the Falcons and Eagles not get the NFL record for penalties in a single game? Because that certainly fucking seemed they were at least 1 or 2 off.
What was that total last night? How many?
I don't remember what the total is.
26.
26? Then they do have the record.
Do they?
Why is no one covering this?
No, it's not the record. I thought
it says the record is 23.
That can't be right. I thought it was I actually thought it was in the 30s, but
it says 23, man.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah, this is an article on Sports Illustrated.
So just no one's reporting it?
I don't know. I feel like we're wrong, but maybe it's something we'll look into. Either way, the game as a whole just sucked. I mean, like, each team had less than 300 total yards, which is not great. Matt Ryan, I thought looked awful. He threw for 251 and a pick.
Okay. Really quick, so the record for most penalties by a single team is 23. The most penalties for both teams is 37.
I was
gonna say I can't find that, but yeah, that's what I was looking for. All right,
I was pretty sure
26 penalties last night. And by the way, just in case anybody didn't watch the game or is living under a rock, the final score last night was Eagles win 18-12. So,
yeah,
so it was pretty much a track meet.
It was the first half was the slowest. It was basically watching paint dry. I would have thought the game would have exploded, right? Because you have a NFC playoff rematch, right? And obviously Philly's hyped up because they unveiled the banner of that game and everything. You would have thought we would see some back and forth action, but no. We went to the half 6-3, I think.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, and kind of a good thing because I have Jake Elliott on my fantasy team, so good for him. But it started to pick up in the second half, obviously, but not to the extent that I thought it was. And the penalties, a lot of them were complete garbage. I'm with the rest of the group here. I was actually saying to a couple people I was talking to during the game that I'm surprised that I don't remember this penalty being called, but none of the tackling penalties. Did they ever call anything for that?
Well,
not really.
There wasn't anything.
There was a clipping penalty that game, by the way.
Right, there was a clipping penalty, and that was
rare.
Which it was a clip, but like it's just something you don't see often.
Yeah, and it was a really weird play too. Like he didn't really get him that good. He just got his leg enough to get him to fall.
Right.
It wasn't too bad, but yeah, there was a clipping penalty. It was funny. I forget the head referee on that game. I forget his name already.
Yeah, I can't remember. Either.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but it looked like every time he had to go and call the penalty, it looked like he had to really think about it for a couple minutes. Did anybody else notice that? Like he got up and he goes to the PA, he turns on the mic, and it's like holding.
Oh yeah.
Defense.
Off defense.
Numbered shit. Yeah.
He did have that one time where he did mess up, but it was funny because like late in the game, Al Michaels, you could literally tell he was he was upset, like he was over, like he like sighed before he was like, and there's another penalty on the field,
and like not really, pal.
But no, it was almost every play. It felt like there was jello on the field. It was just it was annoying.
I didn't understand the one. I forget. I think it was a Falcons corner who made one of the best blocks of the game and got called for pass interference for basically just touching the receiver's back.
It may have been Trufant.
I think so. I'm not good with the names, but I was like, really? They're calling
Trufant's one of our best corners.
He made an insane block. Like just solid, and I don't know. This game was not fun. But like I said, I brought up the tackling thing because what I was saying is I'm waiting for these new tackling rules to cost somebody in the game, and I'm surprised it wasn't half of the penalties that were called last night. I'm just surprised at that.
But
that's how I feel about that fucking game, guys.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
One other thing I just wanted to mention, like it's I know it's the first game of the season, but Nick Foles actually looked like a backup quarterback last night. So he only threw for 117, and he had a pick too. Jay Ajayi.
It was a nice pick too.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, don't that wasn't like a Nick Foles underthrows it and it got picked off. No, it hit a receiver. The receiver got hit and it popped out into one of the other Falcons' hands. It really wasn't like his fault for that interception.
I agree with you. I don't think those should be on the quarterback. The reality is it is. So he did throw an interception, but
I know. I just wanted to clarify for anybody who didn't really watch the game that it was not like the typical interception. It was a very weird bounce, and whoever it was that actually ended up picking up the interception was just in the best position ever. So that was really all it was. It was a good pick. Don't get me wrong. It really wasn't like a Nick Foles interception. So really
right.
That's all.
And then the two standout stars were Jay Ajayi for the Eagles, had 62 yards on 15 carries and 2 TDs. And then the guy I thought was the star of the game was Julio Jones.
Absolutely.
He had 169 yards, nice, on 10 receptions. But here's the stat that mind-boggled me. So he was targeted 19 times, which was about he was targeted about half of the times. Now get ready for a stat that's gonna blow your mind. So me and Brendy were discussing this earlier, and we believe this includes last season and last night's because they say the last 2 seasons. But I believe, like I said, it's last night's game they are including as the start of the season last night. So
Yeah, it was a little weird when you gave me that stat at first. So I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right at all.
yeah, so this is from SportsCenter Facts. Matt Ryan has completed just 1 of 20 passes targeting Julio Jones in the end zone in the last 2 seasons, including playoffs.
Wait, in the red zone or
He, has completed just 1 of 2 passes targeting
You mean
Julio
20?
Jones what did I say? 1
You
of
said
20 passes targeting Julio Jones in the end zone. So actually, when he's physically in the end zone, like Julio. So yeah, that was insane.
Oh, so Julio being in the end zone, like just for his route, not like Julio gets it like at the 40
exactly.
and okay,
When
that's
he's
interesting.
actually in the end zone, yes, that's
Okay,
crazy to me. Because
wow.
this guy,
Okay,
not only is he's one of the best receivers in the game, he's one of the biggest body receivers. Like he goes up and gets them. The fact that that's a stat, I like I said, I thought Matt Ryan was their big problem last night. You had that one pick. Now I know it looked like it was a miscommunication between him and Jones, but like that was when Darby came out and they had a backup cornerback on Julio Jones 1-on-1,
and
and
he was getting beat.
he threw a ball that was perfect for that corner to pick off, and that was like my tipping point. I'm like, dude, I wasn't even
Yep.
a Falcons fan, and I was mad. But yeah, again, I think what we can say is that was just a sloppy game.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not what is going to be happening this season.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
And
just a bad
one
game.
more quick thing. I mean, so I wanted to point out. So even during the game, I lived with 3 roommates at college, and I had one watching with me, and he was talking about how bad Matt Ryan's. I'm like, well, no, Matt Ryan used to be decent. I picked Matt Ryan and Julio Jones as a duo in fantasy like 2 or 3 years back. Do you know how many points that got me?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was probably when the Matt Ryan was the MVP, which was
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Right. Yeah. So it was either that or the year before.
You remember that 500, 300-yard game?
Yeah, seriously. Seriously, I'm pretty sure I had him for that game. I can't remember exactly what I had. Dude, it was a gold mine. So I was actually defending Matt Ryan, but I could not defend how you get to the red zone. Julio gets open. He was open on his route a couple of times, and he overthrows him twice in a row. How do you manage to do that, man? Like, and not even like, oh, it just missed his head. No, he like was basically going for the post. Like he was going for the field goal post. I don't understand. It made no sense. It was kind of a sad thing. And then also one more thing, just to, we talked a lot about the Falcons. Eagles are looking good. I mean, Nick Foles.
Are they really though?
I think their defense is looking good.
Their defense is scary. Their defense is very scary. That's what I was going to say. It's their defense. And then, Nick, as Tyra said, Nick Foles looked more like a backup quarterback than what he was last season, obviously. And then, in case those who haven't heard, Carson Wentz, they're saying right now that he's out several more weeks. We really don't know what that is, but they're trying not to rush him, which is a good thing, because he's going to be the franchise, right? So, so I don't know how they're going to be with Nick Foles at the back, but if that defense is going to be the way that they were last night, then the Eagles are going to have a really good season. And when Carson Wentz comes back, it's going to be a sight. They still got Aguilar, they still got Sproles, they still got Ertz doing work. So they're still a team to beat right now in the NFC, man. I'm telling you.
And I'm just gonna add one more thing. I know I don't want to keep this going, but it is worth noting that a lot of their success, basically all their offensive success on their route to the Super Bowl last year when Foles was playing, was the run pass option, which they ran
really special
a lot last night. But I felt like if they, and now you might say, well, teams are figuring it out because that's what they did last year. But I think that's what that's what Nick Foles excelled under. I would expect to see more of that in the coming weeks. But anyway, let's move on to some more NFL talk. This happened, I think, like a day after our last podcast, unfortunately. But Khalil Mack got traded to the Bears and then signed a contract afterwards. Huge trade. So I'll just go down with the details of the trade. So Oakland traded Khalil Mack to the Chicago Bears, along with a 2020 second-round pick and a conditional fifth-round pick in 2020. In return, the Raiders acquired a 2019 and 2020 first-round pick, along with a 2020 third and a conditional 2019 sixth. I don't know the conditions on the picks. I would assume it had something to do with if he signs, because that's what they usually do. I don't know for certain, though. And then after the trade was accepted, the Bears signed Mack to a 6-year, $141 million contract, 90 guaranteed, which was the day after Aaron Donald got signed. So Aaron Donald was the richest defensive player in the NFL for one whole day. Now it's Khalil Mack.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that stat about richest defensive player or richest any player? It's that they're not rich yet. Something could easily happen.
Right.
It's just funny.
Now he's getting $90 million guaranteed, but we all know that contracts in the NFL are not fully guaranteed. So
no, and then
you
could have a Hernandez thing happen, and
yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's what happens. It's what happens.
I got you. No, but as a Broncos fan, I could not be happier to see him leave our division. He had, so I was looking at his stats earlier. So 40.5 sacks in his first 4 seasons. And he never missed a game, which is actually I found interesting too. But anyway, 40.5 sacks in 4 seasons. This guy, had, I think it was 3 years ago now, had his probably his biggest game in his career, had the 4 sacks against the Broncos. He was that defense to me. I think that defense is literally going to be a bottom 5, bottom 10 defense. I don't like their secondary to begin with, and then they lose their best pass rusher. I that's just my opinion, but yeah, I think they're going to be in for a long season. In terms of the Bears, that defense is looking good. Last
it
year
is now, especially.
Last year, they kind of came out of nowhere with their defense. It wasn't it's supposed to be particularly good, and then they ended up, as a top 10 defense. And now you add Khalil Mack, along with, they're starting to lock guys up too, which is nice for them. They have guys on long contracts, so that'll be there for a while. But, you have the secondary that they have, which generated a lot of picks last year, and then you got, Khalil Mack now. That's a threatening defense. And I don't think the Bears are like a playoff team yet, but you get a couple, as Trubisky develops on offense, you already got a good defense. That could be a good team in a few years. So I'm excited to see. But
yep,
like I said, I could not be happier for Khalil Mack to be out of the AFC West.
This is a weird trade. That's the one thing I never saw coming, and it was kind of sad to see Derek Carr's reaction. Afterwards, he had no idea.
Well, it's because it's one of those things, and we'll get to it later with Le'Veon Bell. It's just that they couldn't agree on a contract. And,
that's what it was.
And it's just, again, like I said, we'll talk about it later, but it's one of the things that's almost ruining the NFL. I understand why players do it. I actually, I understand it from both sides of the spectrum. With the GM, the team, and the player. It's just that, I think that's been a big problem in the NFL is the NFL holdouts. But yeah, that was a pretty big trade, obviously. Am I crazy to think, by the way, that again, and maybe this is my bias from seeing him in the AFC West, but I think I almost think the Raiders should have got more. I know they got 2 first-round picks. But Khalil Mack is literally an all-star. Again, and maybe that's biased for me seeing him, and again,
I completely agree.
So do I.
I get the 2 first-round picks, And I know it was a third-round pick, but like I even like would throw in a second in there. Like that's how good I think this
That's a
guy is.
lot though for an individual player though.
Yeah, but
Like his
Khalil
NFL,
Mack.
like trading NFL draft picks are a lot different than trading NBA draft picks.
I get that, but it's Khalil Mack, man. Like I
Yeah,
don't.
I know.
It's he's a Pro Bowler and he's a guy that gets 10 sacks a season easily.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just
No, I think most of the NFL rolls with you on this one. I mean, no one doubts Khalil Mack's ability. The fact that first round picks are a great thing to get, right? But for someone like Khalil Mack, you could have got half the team along with him, right? Like he's a walking Hall of Famer. My favorite comment, I forget who it was, so I'm sorry that I can't really cite the source. It's like, yeah, cool. The Raiders got 2 first-round picks. Who are they going to draft? Another Khalil Mack? Like, what were they after?
I think the other thing for me is that they sent a second-round pick with him too.
Right.
So basically, you're sending a second-round pick. You're getting a third-round pick. So like you're basically just getting 2 first-round picks for Khalil Mack. That was kind of my thing with it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So not that it was. I think he should be getting more, but they sent a second-round pick. So
yeah,
now.
And don't oversee a second-round pick. That's a valuable pick.
So, I mean, they basically got 2 first, because the second and third would kind of cancel out. I mean, I know they're going to be obviously played. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my opinion, but we will move on.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take the baton on this next story. Because we as the members of the podcast did not want to get into too much of a political discussion about this, because that's not really what we want to do here. We love to give opinions, and trust me, we really love to give opinions on things, sports related, video game related, whatever. And we have some strong opinions. We have a freaking two sound effects for various hot takes that we give on the show. But politics, that's what we really want to hear. I mean, we have our own opinions, but we just didn't want to argue and debate on a public forum that could result in us being extremely mad at each other. In case you haven't figured out what story I am about to talk about, it's the Colin Kaepernick and Nike partnership story that happened a few days ago. So if you haven't seen, Colin Kaepernick has become the face, one of the faces of Nike's 30th anniversary of their Just Do It ad campaign. The picture Nike tweeted out is a picture of Colin Kaepernick with like a grayscale filter that says, stand up for something, even if that means sacrificing everything, something along those lines. I don't know if I got the quote completely correct. Which was instantly memed out by a lot of people, which was kind of funny, but the message strong as ever. Nike standing in a way, making a statement with Colin Kaepernick. You got extreme reactions from both sides, those in favor of Kaepernick or those who support Kaepernick, and those who have been completely against Kaepernick and his protests with the kneeling during the anthem that started 2 years ago. And, in case you don't know about anything about that, Colin Kaepernick is also in a court case suing the NFL for basically plotting to not sign into a team since he was not signed last summer, saying that he was not signed due to political views, which is not a good thing. But what I just want to report that this happened. That Colin Kaepernick is now the face of the team. I did not want to give too much of an opinion. I have my own. The rest of us here on the podcast too. I'm sure those who are familiar with the story know. I encourage everybody, if you're not familiar or you really want to keep up to date, to go find other sources to, if it's opinion pieces or just stuff like ESPN or Sports Illustrated reporting on it or whatever, and make your own opinions.
They should put Colin Kaepernick in a Ford commercial and see if people take flamethrowers to their trucks.
I saw that. I saw that. No, that was like I said, part of the extreme reaction that Zach is kind of referring to here. In case you have not seen, the people who are against Nike are boycotting or calling for a boycott and are burning their shoes, clothes, everything under the sun in attempt to boycott Nike. But like I said, I'm just reporting what has happened recently. Nike plans, I believe, to start a clothing line and a shoe line with Colin Kaepernick. So Colin Kaepernick is absolutely going to get paid for this. And he's going to keep being the face for a little while. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what happens.
Do you think if they put him like in a car commercial, people would actually do that?
No. There would be those select few who would probably
Somebody would.
Somebody would. Yeah.
Somebody would do it for the YouTube hits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I burned my car because of Colin Kaepernick. Gone wrong. Gone sexual.
Like when you set your car on fire, what's going to go right about that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they forgot there was gas in it and it like exploded. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. All right, so we're gonna move on from this because, like I said, we decided that we did not want to have a discussion about this, so we're gonna move on.
Yep. Well said. I think from my point, like we said, we don't want to talk politics, but I think it is our job to at least inform the people about it. So
and it's also listen. I'll say this much, that the issues that are being brought up in these discussions with Colin Kaepernick, the NFL, and the country as a whole are important, right? But we just did not want to cause any rifts here because that's not what we're about. The four of us on this podcast are really good friends. And trust me, off air, we talk a lot about these things. Don't get me wrong. And we're civil about it. It's just we didn't want to spark any fires here. This is not the place for it. This is not what we want it to be. We want this podcast to be informative and fun and entertaining for everybody. We don't want to alienate everybody. We welcome everybody. We welcome all opinions. We just didn't want to discuss our own here. That's just the decision we decided to make, and I hope everybody respects that.
Yep. All right. And moving along, one interesting kind of one, because you don't see it a lot, but this is a very serious topic. Michael Kendricks, linebacker for the Super Bowl winning Eagles last year, was on the Browns this year, has since been cut, but he has pleaded guilty to insider trading charges and faces up to 25 years in prison. I'll read a quote because I actually kind of think it's a little bit funny. When asked why he pleaded guilty, Kendrick said, quote, "I'm making the right decision because it's the right thing to do," end quote. Okay, whatever.
I guess he just figured that out now.
Yeah.
At least he won a Super Bowl before he's going to prison for 2 days.
Yeah, they'll show his ring in the fucking jail.
He's going to walk up into prison and be like, "What's up, motherfuckers? Just won the Super Bowl."
Yep.
The sentencing is scheduled for December 18th, but just crazy story, man. Like, you don't. Yeah, I guess you hear about athletes getting into trouble, a lot of it being like, drug related and stuff like that. But this is just so random, like insider trading. Like, I don't know. But yeah, crazy stuff.
It can't be hard to get into when you're that rich because you invest your money.
That is true. I will say that, like, it's surprising that this is kind of the first time, but it's never happened before, or at least to my knowledge, or what I can remember, that it's weird to hear about. And
it's just. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's weird. It's weird just because it's an NFL player. Like, yeah, there are high up executives or other public figures, not athletic related,
probably
that have gotten in trouble for this.
Doing it.
Oh yeah, it's not like it doesn't happen. It happens probably a lot. It's just interesting to see for a football player to get involved. It's just interesting. Also worth noting for the statistic, he apparently was using insider tips from an acquaintance. He made $1.2 million in illegal profits on 4 different major trading deals. So that's what he's in trouble for. So he made investments based off insider tips. That was not public knowledge. And he ended up making over $1 million with it, which is illegal.
Crazy stuff. But yeah, like I said, for me, it's just weird because you don't usually see this, and then it happened. So yeah,
right. Yep.
Like I said, the sentencing is scheduled for December 18th, and like I said, he could face up to 25 years in prison. Moving along, more NFL talk, but a little cross sports here. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback of the Jacksonville Jaguars, arguably the best cornerback in the game right now, has had a summer of a lot of trash talk we've seen earlier in the summer, he was giving his rankings, I believe, or something for the quarterbacks, and he was like, "Yeah, Joe Flacco's trash, blah blah blah, this and that," and now he's attacking the NHL, and the NHL players are known for being like, "Oh yeah, it's all about the team, blah blah blah." They don't really speak out, but they were unamused by Ramsey's comments. Basically, Ramsey told ESPN. This is where I got the article from. I don't know if that was like the first people to publish it. Excuse me, but either way, he said he's so confident in his athleticism that he could make an NHL roster in 6 months if he trained. That did not sit well with some players. I actually have some quotes here from some NHL players because I think you have the more serious ones, but then there's actually some really funny ones. So this is from Jack Eichel of the Buffalo Sabres. He says, quote, "I think it's insulting to our league. For us players, we've dedicated our lives to playing in the NHL. To think after 6 months you can come and play arguably one of the hardest sports in the world. I mean, I think it's ridiculous." He would say that it's ignorant, end quote. And then you have Dylan Larkin of the Red Wings saying, let me see. Oh, he said, he's like, he said he's never just skated before. There's no chance. That was the big thing for me. Like, learning hockey is one thing, but if you haven't learned how to skate, you're not, forget it. Like, that's the hardest part.
Animal.
It's a big thing too. Like, it's a big thing that people look at, even on like rookies, right? Even on kids, like, can they skate? If they can't skate, they're staying in the AHL longer.
I think it's honestly the biggest part of hockey right now.
It is
the speed of the game. I don't care if you have fucking brick hands and you can't do anything. I think if you can skate fast, you have a chance. Just because, like, creating chances with your speed, that's a big thing in the NHL.
Yeah.
That's a big thing in any sport. If you can run fast, if you can skate fast, if you can, do whatever.
A lot of sports, I mean, it's funny to think about because 20 years ago, I feel like this narrative was completely different, but speed kills in sports. And 20 years ago was like, how technically gifted the player was, but more than obviously it's more than just speed, but that's such a big part of the game now. Seth Jones of the Blue Jackets said you can't even learn to skate in 6 months.
Yeah, no way. No way.
Some of my favorite ones down here, newly signed center for the Toronto Maple Leafs, John Tavares, said simply, well, I tell him good luck then. And then last, I just have one more quote from San Jose Sharks winger Evander Kane. And I agree with it 100%. And like, this is where like I kind of wanted to cap off the argument, not the argument, but I think this makes the most sense. He said, "I think I'd be 1,000% times better at his position in 6 months than he is at mine," which I totally agree with. Dude, I mean, a lot of players also acknowledged that, like they said, yeah, I want to make the pros obviously in 6 months, but like they're basically just, it's Jalen Ramsey. Just, I guess he has nothing better to do. He's so good that he doesn't have to practice and has all this time to talk trash. So he's out here. By the way, I just want real quick. I just want to give the article is from Emily Kaplan of ESPN. All those quotes came from. But yeah.
So I like I said, so I don't want to downgrade any position in any professional sport. Everyone's better than me. Cornerback is not easy, right? But at least you're on solid ground. If you can run, you can play cornerback. You just gotta have to, you have to learn how to block and cover and routes and everything like that. But you're talking about getting on slippery ice and skating and doing it in an efficient way, and that includes stopping on basically on a dime when you're flying down the ice after a puck, right? Like I can skate, right? I think I'm an okay skater, but dear God, I cannot stop. Like, so for him to say that in 6 months he can skate, shoot, deke, block, check everything under the sun, he's out of his damn mind. I don't get it. I really don't get this one. And I get what he's saying. He's not exactly trying to bash the NHL. He's just simply saying that he's so confident in himself as an athlete that he can go cross sport, Which, okay, if you want to go cross sport, go ahead. I mean, he obviously can't do hockey because it'll interfere with football. But God, would I love him try and pull like a Michael Jordan or something and try and play basketball and baseball at the same time? We'll see how that goes. He'll be spending his time in single A. But I this one just hit me in the wrong spot just because it's bad.
He can't even play. Like, he wouldn't be able to play with 9-year-olds in Canada. Like,
No.
literally,
Dude, he would get Deke out of his goddamn skates.
he would become an instant meme because I could just imagine he steps on the ice and just one of those things where his legs just go completely the opposite direction and he just falls flat on his face.
You know what? I have an idea. Hear me out.
Okay.
All right. So let's put Jalen Ramsey in the celebrity game.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see if he can at some point get in the celebrity game. Because I think everyone remembers the infamous image where Justin Bieber was put into the boards by, was it Chris Pronger?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Chris Pronger.
And I actually hope that if he gets on the celebrity game, that there's a player there who's known for hitting, and they just lay out Jalen Ramsey.
Justin Bieber was also kind of he also got humiliated in the NBA All-Star game by Scottie Pippen.
Worth noting, by the way, for Justin Bieber, he grew up in Canada, and from my understanding, he actually plays like beer league stuff. So it's not like he plays.
He's honestly not that bad. Like,
no, he's not.
Obviously, he's not good, but like, for somebody who probably doesn't have that much time, like he's actually pretty decent.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he grew up with it though too, which probably helped. It's one of those. It's like riding a bike, right? Like he knows how to play. So even if he doesn't play for a year, he can go back and play.
Yeah, especially with Canada, I feel like every boy kind of grows up playing hockey, or not. I shouldn't say that. I should say, to be politically correct, maybe like 80% of the population is like that.
Yeah.
Just Jalen Ramsey's a fucking idiot. That's
I don't know, but still one of the best quarterbacks in the league, especially on Jacksonville, where literally their defense is named Jacksonville, for God's sake. So look, they're good. He's good. He's a fantastic player, but to say that he can make an NHL roster, he's having a laugh. He has no idea what he's saying. He has no idea how to get into it. And seriously, like just for reference, like go watch like an international under 16 game or something like that, or under 18 game. Go watch the World Juniors this year. Just go watch. These are kids that like I look forward to it most of the time than regular season hockey, like in the NHL most of the time, because it's so good. Like they're so good. Just go watch. And
those kids are like 15, 16, 17,
right?
Depending on what tournament you watch, and those kids are better than most of the population. So it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to get any more. Give them any more airtime. I'm obviously a big hockey fanatic, so that's why it struck me bad.
We do have one more NHL topic, which is a funny one. So obviously it's not well documented. I mean, it is well documented, but the fact that the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup, Alex Ovechkin's first Stanley Cup, and he's had a wild summer, to say the least. So it was put out by the NHL. So if you don't know, there's somebody basically. His name is Philip Pritchard, and he's the keeper of the cup. So when it's not when it's in the regular season, they keep it. He'll get it back from the player. She cleans it. Like he's the guy that has the cup, and he's the guy that brings it out into the ice for the ceremony. And what we've seen on a lot of videos, they actually did it on Jimmy Fallon too. They had Jimmy Fallon do it. Is they've been using the Stanley Cup as basically a keg stand. And the NHL basically put out, I don't know if they put out a statement or Pritchard put out a statement, to be honest with you, but they don't want the players using the Stanley Cup for keg stands.
No shit.
But I'm reading this article, and it says, quote, in fear of hurting it, end quote. That's why they don't want it, because they don't want it to hurt the Stanley Cup.
Well, it's not like it hasn't been hurt before. It's been dented. It's been. If I remember, it was thrown off a roof of a house and dented by a pool, I think. If I remember that correctly.
Jesus Christ.
I think that was the Stanley Cup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And
Yeah.
I think I think they were partying with Pantera, if I remember correctly, the old
Okay.
'90s metal band.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I remember reading that somewhere, but I could easily be wrong. But yeah. So it's not like it could get hurt, but it does take a lot of power. I mean,
I don't know. Pritchard, the overall statement he kind of made was, "We're trying to preserve the history of the Stanley Cup. We don't want any unnecessary damage to it or a person in case they drop the person or he presses too hard or something."
Well, why do they let a bunch of psychos who just won an important championship tote it around for a week after?
It's not
because
even
it was Alex
literally the whole
Ovechkin.
summer. Like, they won't. I think Pritchard like gets it back. I want to say like either like late September. I think that's when it is, and basically like that's when they take it back and they clean it and all that. But yeah, I mean these players have the cup. They pass it around their team. Each player has a couple days with it. That's kind of the tradition. They bring it to places and. Yeah, like I said, I think Obi after he won the Stanley Cup was hungover for fucking 2 weeks straight. So, yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's just kind of we're literally at this point, it looks like the NHL is digging for stories because that's how dead it is right now. But it is a pretty funny story to talk about. Next, we are going to move on to some video game stuff. The Black Ops 4 beta for the new Blackout, the Battle Royale, Battle Royale mode is coming out soon. I think the PlayStation 4 release date is September 10th, and then it comes out, excuse me, shortly after for PC and Xbox. But the big story essentially there was Bobby. Do you know if it was like an interview? I guess it was.
It was a interview with David Van Nahara with GameSpot, or I'm sorry, with Game Informer that GameSpot did a summary article on. So apparently, Game Informer asked him 195 questions about the game, about Blackout specifically. Okay, I didn't realize that. They asked him about frame rate. I don't know what the question was exactly, and he said that Blackout technically can run at 60 FPS, and he said that's always a target for these games. We suggested the game might not always achieve it. It's not the biggest surprise. It's just the headline that kind of caught my eye with this whole thing. For those who have played Fortnite or PUBG or H1Z1 or any Battle Royale type game, you'll know that in times of like big fighting sequences, like there's a lot of groups or a lot of squads fighting, your frame rate drops, right? That's just kind of the nature of the beast. You have 100 people in one game, and you have all these kind of graphics renders. So it was just the headline that caught it. I'm still excited for it though. I don't think that it's going to be too much of an issue. I'm sure everyone's going to be fine with their frame rate. It was just an interesting little tidbit about it. The trailer came out yesterday, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
it was. Dude, it looks really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen the trailer. It looks good. I've also seen like a lot of. I don't know if they've gotten permission now, but I've seen a lot of new gameplays out recently. Not in terms of Blackout itself, but just in COD in general. I'm excited, man. Like, we've mentioned this before on the podcast, but we're all big fans of the Black Ops series. I think they do really good work. Yeah, and I think this is going to be a big thing. There was some interesting points. One of the things that I've seen that I'm not totally surprised about, but as we know in Fortnite, there's 100 players each game. I know in Blackout right now there's 80. I know they're testing though as many as 115 players in the game, so it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. What the final end result is. Also, pictures of the map have came out. So it's good stuff. I mean, like I said, I'm really excited to get hands on with it. You do get the beta if you pre-order the game. Like I said, the PS4 version comes out September 10th, and then it's usually like a week or 2 weeks after it comes out
like
for Xbox and PC. So yeah, good stuff. The other thing that came out with that, I don't know if it was that interview particular, or if it was known before, but one of the other big points was that the Black Hat mode will not feature crossplay, which a lot of people, pointed out. I think, I'm not totally surprised about that. I don't know what your guys' opinion is on, with that, but yeah, that was just the other interesting point. With there being no crossplay, but there was a lot of juicy information out of that interview. There's a bunch of articles, so I suggest if anybody is a big fan and wants to know more, to check out those articles.
Also, real quick, just part of the reason why crossplay, not in this instance, but I want to point out just one comment that a PS4 executive made the other day that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, with the Fortnite, the PS4 executive or CEO, something like that, said along the lines that the reason why they're not allowing crossplay is because PS4 is the best place to play. I can't get over this.
About that.
I really can't get over this. I can't.
Yeah, that's not true at all.
I'm not trying
what
to
happened? What did they say about PS?
Let me find the original thing. So
basically, they're like, I'll just re-say it to you. There was an exec from PlayStation who said that Fortnite is best when played on PS4. Essentially, that was the gist of it. So yeah, you can take that, but that's just not true.
Didn't the game come out on PC first?
On cross, so this is from Sony CEO. I'm sorry, I might butcher his name. Kenichiro Yoshida. He was at IFA Technology Show in Berlin, and he was asked about this is from cinemablend.com, by the way. The reason crossplay is limited to PS4 and PC and not also with Xbox is because it's about giving users the quote best experience to play games like Fortnite. Saying on cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with PlayStation 4 is the best experience for users. That's our belief.
It sounds like he's just talking bullshit, and he didn't give any real reason why PS4 is the best place.
It's because they want to hold on to they want everyone to come to the system, which I get, but it's like it's not your game. That's the biggest thing to me. It's like it's not your game, and it's not your games that you're making. I'm sure they get behind games. I get that, but this is not one of them. This is Fortnite, an independently made game by Epic Games that would be amazing on full crossplay. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get this. You're not losing. I don't feel like you'd be losing players if you were just to allow this to happen. If anything, you might make more sales. I don't get it. I really don't get it. This is a topic that we can talk about for another day, but just know that this really pisses me off. I'm not trying to get into a console war. I play PC a lot, and I have an Xbox One, but I've had a PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, and whatever, and I played PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. At the end of the day, I'm done with this console war bullshit. I just want to be able to play with my friends. That's really all I care about. I don't care if it's on the computer, on the Xbox, on the PlayStation, whatever. The only reason I get the Xbox over the PlayStation is because that's where most of my friends are. That's
Spider-Man on PS2.
Okay, hold on. That we're not. All right, hold on. There's a lot of games on PS2.
Okay, never mind.
No, PS2, and then there also does the new Spider-Man game only coming out for PS4?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's coming out for Xbox as well.
Oh, is it?
It's not coming out for PC though.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was.
Can you imagine the
exclusive.
mods on that game if it were to come out for PC, dude? My favorite video right now is the video from someone on GTA 5 on PC who added who was it? It's not Thanos. Jesus, who was it?
I think I actually remember. Was it like a YouTube video? Because
Jesus, I forget. But basically, it was a video. They added a mod where he just goes in and destroys everything, and he's like flying and like shooting lasers and stuff like that, just blowing everything up in the game. And it's like, wow, like imagine this type of games like something like Spider-Man. You could do something similar, right? You could add Thanos to that game, and it would be like him just blowing up the city for no reason.
I mean, GTA is fun, but it's like so much better with mods.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Dude, you think mods are fun? Like back when I used to play fucking NASCAR on the PlayStation, I would just drive in reverse and crash my car.
Good time.
And just see how much I could damage
Dude,
it.
You want to talk about like cheat codes back in the day? Me and Brendon were actually talking about this the other day. But nothing beat in the original Spider-Man game on the PS2 using the cheat code to play as Green Goblin and then fighting.
Oh yes, I remember that. Like I didn't own the game. My cousin did, but every time I play, I do that. Yeah. I thought it was
had it.
Green Goblin versus Green Goblin, biggest plot twist ever.
It was Vision in that GTA video I'm talking about. It was Vision. That's what it was.
And like the funny thing is, they changed the voice of Green Goblin, like the evil Green Goblin, when you were playing as the regular Green Goblin.
Yeah,
so it was really messed up.
But do you guys remember though, like having, like on the old PS2 games, like you'd have to do the button combinations to activate cheats and stuff like that? Like,
Oh yeah.
Good times. But we are getting way off track.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We have a few Fortnite things. We wanted to talk about the Fortnite update real quick. The high stakes update just got added. I believe it was September 6th. It was. Excuse me. I'm stumbling over my words. I think it was yesterday. But I haven't gotten hands on with it yet. I know Brendy. You did, right? And then I think both you and Zach did, right? You've played the new high stakes game mode.
I haven't played. It's been a while since I played GTA.
Fortnite.
I'm talking about Fortnite. we kind of went on a different tangent.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the update's called High Stakes. Basically a new game mode was added. You had some new skins, and also the grappler gun was added, which from the videos I've seen it's gonna be a interesting tool to use.
I've seen people like shoot RPGs and then like grapple onto the rocket and then kill people, and I'm like,
really?
Dude, that is sick. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I love it. Like the new game mode is a lot of fun. I've only played like maybe like 4 or 5 games, and I've already won twice, and it's actually pretty easy to win if you can get a gun first. And go ahead.
I would say no. I just shared a picture of our game last night, Brendy.
Oh yeah, but it was absolutely it's a lot of fun. It's a really nice update. Sometimes like it kind of causes us to. I noticed this a little bit when I was playing. Like the FPS seems to be like a bit high a lot recently. But like and like there's like a few glitches, like the picture that Bobby just shared where his fucking feet is through the bus. But it's actually a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend.
Attached by his neck to the bottom of the tank.
It's like the fucking Flintstones car.
For anyone who can't see this, there's basically a van floating in the air, and Bobby's character on Fortnite, his head is just stuck into the bottom of the van.
You gotta find a way to like display the picture for a few seconds on the podcast.
Yeah, I might just put that as a video. We'll see.
I'll let Bobby, I'll let you got the patch notes, so I'll let you read through because I know there's a lot I'm missing. So go ahead.
Yeah,
just post it on the podcast Twitter and say as mentioned.
Yeah, I could do that. And so this is a version 5.40 for Fortnite. So they added the high stakes event, which is the cool getaway mode, which is it's pretty fun. I like it. It makes it drastically different game, which is a lot of fun. That's gives the game a little bit of a breath of fresh air for those who may have been tired of playing it the normal way. So it does have the grappling hook, which Zach almost made the best escape of all time with it last night when we were playing. I wish I had it recorded, but I don't. But it was hilarious. Me and Brendy were down. We were playing just 3-person squads. Me and Brendy were down, and the whole squad was Zach, and Zach's just whipping around them as they're trying to build and capture them. But he's like whipping in trees, like around what they're building and over the hill. And so he ended up dying. But for a good like 2 minutes there, he was evading everything. But it was pretty funny. He was shaking and baking that whole time. It was hilarious. So that's there, and then they added a weekly horde challenge for the Save the World mode. Which, I mean, honestly, do I even need to be reporting on that anymore? I'd be curious to know how many players like actually regularly play that mode.
It's supposed to be coming free like soon.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised because like no one's gonna pay the $20 for that anymore. Like it's just it's sad because like I played it and it was pretty cool, but it's not what it's known for, and they know that.
Yeah, for sure.
And also had a Harvester Fiona. It's a smoke bomb thing, and a new Harvester Ninja. I know nothing about that mode, so I'm not going to pretend to. They had some bug fixes as well. So the unneeded assets to main and memory. Fix an issue that caused camera jitter when simultaneously canceling sprint while reloading. Fix the server crash that would occur when player edits a building. That would be funny. Fix an issue that prevented weapons from firing when holding the fire button during a weapon swap. Okay, I've had that happen to me a bunch of times.
Yep.
That's good to hear. Fix an issue causing the crosshair to drift if player rapidly presses aim down sights with sniper rifles. Okay. Trying to do some quick scopes. Fix some buildings destruction effects being played twice. Fix ammo quantity counts not updating probably on the inventory screen details. And fix broken anti-aliasing in handheld mode on Nintendo Switch. How are these people playing handheld, man? The people who play Fortnite on mobile, you're out of your goddamn mind. I can't do it.
Yeah, but
I
you know what?
can't do it.
Like I've said this, my sister plays on mobile, and I don't know how she does it. I give her a lot of props. Either
And the
way,
people who play on the Switch, that's like playing on the Switch, has the buttons on either side. That's it. That's all you got. How the hell? I want to see. Actually, you know what? If anybody's listening, I would love to be linked to like some insane Switch or mobile Fortnite players. I want to see them do this. I want to see
Switch Fortnite trick shot.
Yeah, Jesus. I want to see like a player who's exclusive on one of those platforms and can build and edit just as good as anybody else on PC or Xbox or PS4.
We said this before about Epic Games. We really like how they have a weekly update, and they always they're always looking to improve. That's what I
Oh shit. Sorry, continue.
Brendy, Jesus Christ, man.
All right, you can do it, Bobby.
They're
now your social media, you do it.
All right.
They're doing social media stuff in the middle of the podcast. Very professional. Yeah, I was just gonna say I really like how they're always making the look changes. So yeah.
Listen, we've rode Epic before about this in previous podcasts where we said like that them as a company are doing what I wish a lot of other big companies would do on major titles. Constantly trying to keep it fresh, putting as much as they possibly can behind it, and it's good to see. So this is one of those things, right? Like it's actually changing the whole way everybody's playing. I mean, you can go play normals, right? But then there's this you can do, which is really cool. It's another way to win. It's just it's a different mode.
Yeah, and as much as I love like regular Fortnite, like it does, when you're playing the same thing over and over and you have no challenges to do or something, like it does get a little stale. So it's not, it's good to see that, they're adding stuff and along with the changes they're actually making in games. So we're also going to just move on to one other Fortnite topic we had in mind. So there's this whole debate about skins on for the big Fortnite players. There's a big discussion with skins in terms of the most like rare skins in the game. And should you be able to purchase it essentially? So in terms of like what I'm essentially talking about is the skins that were the seasonal skins. So you have your Halloween skins, your Christmas skins, St. Patrick's Day skins, all those like holiday skins, you can't get anymore. It was a limited time thing, and people are debating whether should you bring them back and be able to pay for them, or should you be able to leave them as rare skins? The other thing we want to talk about is like one of the rare skins in the game. It's called I don't know the percentages on it if it is the rarest, but the skin's called the Recon Expert, and it's basically one of those skins you can get in the shop where it's like 1,200 V-Bucks. They basically slap on clothes to a normal character, and then that's the skin. And it's like
I don't really like skins like that.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying. It's the most plain skin ever, and it's the rare. Like it's top 3 rare skin in the game. It makes no sense to me. So we kind of just want to have a discussion in terms of like, I guess we'll do like a little roundtable thing here. I'll go to each guy. Do you think that skins should be brought back, or should they be kept rare? Like, should players have access to buy skins? When a lot of people, like I wasn't playing back Halloween last year. Like, those were the OGs. So should skins come back?
I've got a pretty interesting take on this. It's not even really that interesting, honestly. So, So skins that you can get through having the season pass should be left like in that season. But if the skin has been like in the item shop once, it should be able to be brought back to the item shop.
Right.
But as far as like skins you unlock by purchasing the season pass, those should be left.
Yeah. So real
If you
quick,
didn't play that season, then you don't get it.
At least to my knowledge, like the Recon Expert, like I said, one of the most rare skins is one of those skins that are just in the store. Like I'm pretty sure like it's not like one you got through the battle pass or something. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. But sorry, continue.
I mean, that was really it. I feel like that's pretty fair because I mean, you get the bonus. You get the exclusive item for playing. If you're one of the Fortnite players in season 1, you've got all those super rare skins that not a lot of people are going to have because Fortnite didn't pop off immediately.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also bring it outside of Fortnite a little bit in turn this idea of skins in games and kind of microtransactions, and also just like I have some statistics I want to share about these things real quick, if I may. So what I wanted to know was Fortnite's a free game. The Battle Royale mode is a free game, and they have they have the Battle Pass and everything else, like and other skins you could buy and a million other things. So I looked up. I tried to find more current. I kind of failed to do so. Revenue from in-app stuff, and in February of 2018. Fortnite had a monthly revenue of $126 million. So that includes skins, the battle pass, just that. That's it. And
for a free game.
Right. And it's this idea of, and it's like everyone's trying to get the rarest items, right? Which that's the biggest thing. Like nobody wants to wear, and my big thing was like, no one wants to wear the skin that looks good. Everyone wants to wear the rarest skin you can get, even if it's the ugliest freaking thing in existence. People wear it because it's kind of like a show off thing, right? Like for me, I'm not one to really care about skins too much in games like this, but I see why. But I'm not going to go blow a bunch of money on it, right? I'd rather buy other games. That's just me. But for me, if I was a skin person, right, and maybe it's just because I'm not fully invested to it like other people are, I would want the skin that looks good, even if it's like a common one. You know what I mean? I want my player. I forget. There was a Rocket League video I was watching. I think it was by Sunless Khan is his name. Who talked about he was talking about ways to get better at Rocket League, which that's the game I play a lot. And he was talking about how there's this mentality that if your car looks good, you'll want to do better, like this drive. And to me, if you have this ugly skin, it would get annoying at some point. I don't know. That's just me.
I actually agree with that because like I try not to buy stuff because I don't like microtransactions, but I always find myself doing it anyway. So like I have a few skins now that I bought, and I like switching it up because I don't know. Again, like it's just not that it gets stale where you feel like you need a new skin, but it's just something new. It's like something like, oh well, I have a new skin now, and it's just incentive almost to play. I agree with you though. Like I could care less how rare a skin is. Like when I do buy Fortnite skins, I buy the ones that I like. Like I'm not gonna buy one that I'm never gonna wear, even though if it is rare. Like I like the ones I like, and
well, the real problem with it comes with all these like aftermarket accounts and stuff that people are selling. That's why it's even a debate.
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's a lot of things. You also have like the scammy websites for V-Bucks and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of things out there, and this is you're right. This is why this debate kind of came up because people are saying, well, I'll pay X amount to get this rare skin. And it's like, and then you have all these sites that are tricking kids like, oh, get 1 million V-Bucks, just put your credit card information in and blah, blah, blah. And like, obviously those are fake and you should never do them. But, there's a lot, as good as Fortnite is, people have to suck and they do a lot of bad things like that. So,
And Tyler, really quick, really quick before, I'm glad you mentioned the fact that like sometimes like if you're wearing like the skins, like they'll get stale and like you'll get tired of them after a while. What do I do after every Fortnite game? I
I was
change my
gonna
skin.
say you do it more than anybody because like I'll see like we'll be playing and then like next thing I'll be like, oh, he's a different skin now, and then you'll do
Because
it again.
I have 10 skins, like 10 or more skins that I have listed as favorite, and then I have like the shuffle option on, so that it
Oh
only
yeah,
cycles through
yeah,
those skins that I like.
yeah, right, yeah.
And
I
that's what I really like, because like then I won't get too tired of the skins I'm using, because I still really like the I forget what it's called, the skin that you get for completing week 1 through 7.
the enforcer,
Yeah, I really
sword,
like that
for the
skin.
challenge, yeah.
I'm not tired of it yet, and I've been I've obviously had it since the end of week 7, and I've loved it, and it's because I'm cycling through it repeatedly.
Yeah, and I just got to the point where I got to tier 100 on my battle pass, so I got the Ragnarok skin. And one thing, if you didn't know about the Ragnarok skin, is your XP throughout the season. Sorry, my computer just went to sleep. Your XP throughout the season doesn't. It adds up. So like when you get the skin, it's not like, oh, now I got to do all this XP to get to the highest level. Like it's already up there for you. And that's like my favorite skin in the game right now. But even like after I was using it, I was like, I kind of want to switch it up again. It's just something about that. But yeah, for me personally, and I think for all of us here, it seems like at least like we would rather have a nice looking skin that we actually enjoy looking at, rather than some fucking like copy and paste bullshit that they just throw on a character because it's rare. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a Fortnite debate about that. Go ahead.
I wanna just bring up a couple more statistics real quick, just for comparison reasons. And it may spark a little bit more discussion. So I was curious about Counter-Strike as well. Counter-Strike Go. For those who don't know, it has a huge gun skin market, right? With a lot of different things, from everything from rare to legendary stuff and stuff like that. So I found a statistic that in 2017, the game generated a revenue of $341 million. Just for the record, $341 million in the 2017 year by itself versus Fortnite's $126 million in 1 month of February 2018, which is kind of ridiculous. So there's that. But I also wanted to point out how it started a freaking like stock market and trade system of skin. There are a lot of shady sites that have to do with skin gambling and skin buying and trading and everything like that. Like two big YouTubers, T Martin and Syndicate, got in a lot of trouble because was it Syndicate? It was Syndicate, right?
It was Syndicate, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So T Martin and Syndicate, two prominent YouTube gaming
CS:GO
figures.
Lotto.
Right, who were big figures of CSGO Lotto. They did a lot of videos of them buying and gambling on that site for CSGO stuff without disclosing that they were also owners of that site. It's a very shady way. I'll admit that I was just in there just for like the chance games to try and get a skin. That's it. So I mean, I haven't like full on tried to gamble for it. Plus, I don't care enough, right? Like I am not trying to buy a bunch of crates and keys. Right? That's just me. I mean, I have skins that I just happen to get, but I think the highest I have is like an epic that somebody gave me, like a purple one that somebody gave me a while ago.
I actually got a pretty good op not too long ago. I forget what it's called, but I remember like I saw that little like tick like from when you're like opening a crate. I saw it land on a fucking red op, and I was like, oh my god.
Right.
Like that people love that feeling. Like that's why they spend a shit ton of money on it.
And I guess part of it too is, especially in CSGO's case, where it's more crate based, is that like, okay, you roll a crate and you get the rarest possible thing, like a knife, like a crimson knife or something like that, like a fade. And
never got one before, by the way.
Neither have I. The knives are cool. I'm not gonna say it'd be cool to get one. I'm not gonna go searching through a bunch of crates for that.
I've never even seen it slide across my screen.
Yeah, I had one time where I opened like one crate, I think, because a friend of mine gave me a key, and I tried it. And I saw it, but I was nowhere close.
I've never seen one. I've opened a lot of crates, and I've not seen one.
I had it, but then I didn't get it. But so yeah, it's just so weird. And there's nothing else to buy inside Counter-Strike. This is all skin and game sale revenue.
Cosmetic does not improve your gameplay at all. It's all cosmetic.
No, and that's the thing. Like I don't have the battle pass in Fortnite. I have everything I need. What I hate is games that will block game modes. Like why Battlefront 2 flopped because they had certain game modes that were blocked until you bought it. That I hate. Right, but like for games like Fortnite and CS:GO, they give you all the maps, all the guns, everything. You can play the game without the cosmetics. It's up to you. And I'm not trying to bash those who buy the cosmetic stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to buy it. Everyone's free to do what they want. It's their money.
And the cosmetics on CS:GO have not always been around.
Right. Yeah.
They were not there on release.
It revived the game.
Right.
Absolutely. Like so. It's an interesting thing to me.
I forget what I think it was called like Arms Deal or something. The update.
Yeah, I think that's what it was too, if I remember correctly. But it's just an interesting thing, and that's it too. And that's the big thing on like games like League of Legends too. Now, for those who don't know about anything about League of Legends, you also buy like rune pages and stuff that will help you in the game too. Which is part of why I stopped playing it. Was because like I felt like to even get to any higher level, I had to buy more things. But a lot of the sales that League of Legends makes in their revenue is through skins. And a lot of stuff is seasonal too, which is part of why people are asking for returning skins of Fortnite now. Skins can come and go and won't be on sale anymore and stuff like that. They're called like legacy skins in League of Legends or something like that. I forget. But a lot of it's all skins. The cosmetic stuff sells. It's an interesting thing to me, and I just want the game to be better. I don't care about the cosmetics. I just want to be able to pay whatever money I have to get the game and then have a really good time playing it for hours. That's really all I want. I'm not bashing those who buy cosmetics for games. You look cool. You look cooler than I do. You're a lot more hip than me. But it's just not me. And maybe because it's also like I'm just trying to keep my money for other things and other games. That's just me though. I know there are people in other situations where they can kind of splurge a little bit or they want to splurge on the game. It doesn't matter. And everyone is free to do their own thing. It's just not for me. Maybe I'll change down the line as this kind of keeps progressing into more and more major titles. Like I know, NHL 19, a game I'm really excited for, which gets released next week. Will have the hockey bags, but that's a crate system, which I'm sure.
But, hold on, sorry to interject. They've actually said that you can't buy those. Like,
right, that's the interesting thing. That's a progression thing. Which I like. I like that kind of thing. I like the progression system. I like that best because that rewards me for like the hours I'm going to put into this game. Because I'm going to put the hours in. Trust me. I'm going to put the hours into your game. I want to be able to try and rock some of them, even if it takes me longer than just putting in $5. Like I want to be able to earn those things. Like it's just the tiny little reward for me. That's kind of cool. And that's just me. I like progression rewards more than buy rewards, but I understand why people end up putting the money in. I get it, and it's also supporting the developer, especially an independent developer like Epic. I get it. It's just not for me. That's really it.
I kind of wish I was like you, like in terms of not like buying skins, but I don't know. Like I said, for me, it's just like it keeps the game fresh, and I should spend on other things, but I decided to spend it on video games. So
for me, buying food or buying a rare skin in Fortnite. I will admit. So Rocket League they released their Rocket Pass, which is basically the battle pass of Fortnite, but in Rocket League. It's a similar thing. It's like $10 or something like that. You have to buy keys and then redeem those keys for the pass. In that game, it's tempting. I grind that game a lot, and I'm a sucker for cars. So the fact that you can design cars gets me at that aspect. So I'll admit that it's enticing. I haven't done it as of this video. I don't think I will, but I'll admit that it is a little enticing. I will.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's your game, so I'm surprised you haven't. But
I have not put, besides buying the game and buying the 3 DLCs that they had. I haven't. I don't think I have not made any purchases within the game. They have a lot of progression events and redeem events. Like they did a Halloween one, which I guess is coming up soon. Again, and they did a Christmas one and had a summer one going on with the updated Salty Shores. But I like those stuff. I like that stuff, and I got some cool gear, and I like my cars right now. So as of right now, I'm not buying it. But
last thing I want to say just before I move on, if I'm playing CS:GO and I get sniped by a guy with an off dragon lower, I'm jizzing my pants.
yeah. And I dude, it's you get ridiculed sometimes in that game for not having a skin. Like I don't have the quote unquote sexiest skins on the market, right? Like I have some pretty common skins, like just some camo stuff.
You have like the light blue skins,
right? Like I don't. Some people like picked it up and like, ew, what is this? I'm like, it's my fucking. Who are you? Like,
yeah, but in the same token, like you see people making fun of default skins in Fortnite all the time. So.
Right, and I'm a default skin, and I'm not going to proclaim to be this amazing player.
No, you're
on
a Twitch
Fortnite.
skin.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch skin. Yeah, that's a better term for it. Yeah, I'm a Twitch skin. Whatever comes out for Twitch Prime, I'll get. But no, I'm not going to proclaim to be this amazing player, but I think I'm decent enough, better than other people that I've run into. I mean, I don't know. The guys here who play with me the most, so I don't know if you can vouch for me, or if you're just going to tell me that I suck, which I'm expecting to happen more. But I just, I just don't have the urge to put the money into the game. And I don't even play Fortnite by myself. The only time I play Fortnite is if these guys are on. That's it.
Right.
That's another reason. But like I said, not knocking anybody who do it. It's also a great support system for independent game developers, and I'm all for supporting those people. But it's just in that circumstance, it's not for me.
All right, I think that was a pretty good discussion. As what happened last week, Zach's got to get that money, so he's going to work.
You got to get that money, fellas. We'll be back.
Wake up, Kings. We're making that bread.
Talk to you fellas next Friday.
Yep.
All right,
see you, man.
Peace and love.
All right, so we are going to move on to Brendy's segment in case you missed it.
All right, guys, I got some pretty good stories for you today, and I tried to keep it like a little bit non-sports related, so that we could kind of take a little bit of a break from that stuff.
Okay.
But there is one sports story that I'm going to cover briefly, but we're going to start off with Burger King. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but Burger King plans on releasing a new like a chicken burger, and it's going to be called I think it's called the Chicken Crispy Burger or something like that. Or no, Crispy Chicken Burger. That's what it is.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Okay. But it has not been released yet. And it's going to be released in the UK. And Burger King is offering the first person to try this Crispy Chicken Burger £20,000 or 20,000 euros, sorry, whatever it is.
Yeah, it is pounds, you're right.
Yeah, £20,000. So how on earth are you going to get this £20,000? Well, first, you have to enter in. Basically, it's kind of like a contest. What you have to do is record a video of you pretending to take a huge bite out of the burger.
Oh God!
And then you need to send it to the judges by sharing it with the company on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram using the hashtag BK20Bite. So if you guys want an easy £20,000, hopefully you can get that transferred to US dollars. Then by all means, you should consider doing this contest. So what do you guys think?
Not a chance, because if I, knowing Bobby, I'll have a picture of my mouth, me eating this and have my mouth wide open, and something's gonna get edited. I don't need that.
Dick in a mouth,
bro.
Yep. Yep.
No chance.
Also, this is a sandwich, right? You said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called a crispy chicken burger.
Well, I can't eat it anyway, so screw that.
Why can't you eat it?
Celiac disease.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Same thing for me, really.
So those who don't know, real quick, just to educate y'all real quick, I have celiac disease, which is a sensitivity to gluten. And gluten is in a lot of things, mainly bread products. So a lot of fast food I cannot eat because of that. So just
I do too, by the way. I just don't bring it up that much.
Really? I don't think you would be if I ever even talked about this.
Because it's kind of recent.
Okay. We can talk later if you don't want to talk about it.
Oh no, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I'm just saying, like I've also got the same thing, so I can totally relate.
Oh, sweet.
With
Yeah,
Look at this.
With that said, I am victim to like pizza and stuff. Like that hard to turn that down for me at least.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. But I no way I'm doing that though.
So none of you guys are doing the challenge?
No way.
Fuck
no
that.
way. No.
All right. Well, moving on to the next story, and guys. This one may be a little bit sensitive to the ears, and because okay, I'm just gonna read this. Okay.
Oh no.
So let me give you a scenario.
All right.
You're at the beach. All right.
All right.
And all of a sudden you see a stingray. What would be your first reaction?
Run.
I'm
swim.
Run. Like get out of the water.
Like get out of the water. Don't go near it. Don't touch it. It killed Irwin. I'm not about it, dude.
All right. Well, here's what happened to this man who was on the beach in China.
Oh no.
So in a bizarre incident, a man in China, he was filmed wincing in pain as a stingray stung him on the genitals while swimming.
No!
Yes, it happened,
No.
and there's pictures of it too.
No! God damn it!
So his relaxing time at the beach was interrupted as the barbed tail of the stingray managed to get into his shorts.
My dick just hurt from that.
Oh my God, man.
And apparently when help arrived, like it was still stuck there.
Oh my God, Brendy! You're killing me, man.
So firefighters and paramedics arrived soon to help. And they the stingray sting can be fatal, but the man is okay now, and it's been reported as stable.
Bro, he ain't okay, dude. He got his fucking dick stung, bro.
My God. I want to know. My only question is, well, first of all, that had to hurt like a bitch. Like I can't.
Oh yeah.
Picture that kind of pain. But I wonder if does it say anywhere if it has any lasting effects? Like.
It doesn't say exactly. Like it's kind of a short article. It's from the Express, so I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But it's as far as this says, it says at present the young man's condition is relatively stable and there are no other problems.
I mean, I guess that means that he'll be okay once they, just get it to heal, right? I mean,
God,
I'm surprised he still has it, man. Like without trying to get too graphic, what I'm trying to say is I'm glad that I guess there's going to be some use out of it afterwards still, right? And I don't even mean just like those reasons, like, does he need is gonna need like a catheter or something after this for one reason? Yeah, I know. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next story, which this one is. This one's going to be a bit funnier, so hopefully you guys enjoy. So, if you do what?
I said I need a better story. My dick hurts.
Yeah, thank you for not making that the last story, by the way, Brendy. Like, thank you for making that the middle.
Oh no, this one's gonna cheer y'all up. So you guys may have heard about this. So Todd Frazier, if you don't know, he's a third baseman for I believe for the Mets.
Yep.
And he was playing against the Dodgers, and one of whoever was at bat hit a foul ball that was probably playable by Frazier. Like he had to reach into the stands and get the foul ball in order to catch it. Well, apparently he was able to fool the umpire into thinking he caught it by swapping the live baseball with a rubber ball. And the batter was called out because all the umpire saw was a ball in the glove.
What?
So I was gonna say, give some context on this, because what happened was you could see him catch the ball in foul territory. Like he had it in his glove, When he went over into the seats, he lost the ball. I guess couldn't find it when he fell, and there was a rubber ball that a fan brought to the game there. So he picked it up, showed it to the umpire, and he called him out. That was the whole context of the story.
Right.
So, I did see this because it was on SportsCenter the other night. And yeah, it's
and people are pissed about this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was about to say. Like, people are not happy. Of course, it's baseball. Like, I feel like it's just something to talk about, so they want to get angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what a comment on Bleacher Report says. It basically says, so taking vitamins can get you suspended, gambling can get you banned, but if you cheat and fool an umpire, it's a joke. MLB is run by a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I think it was the Dodgers they might be playing, or
Yep.
I was okay. So I was gonna say, I mean, in their case, they're playing for a playoff spot, but in the Mets case, I mean, they're out. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's just one play. Look, I mean, it's not great sportsmanship on his part, but that's pretty clever to think on his feet like he did. So. Yeah, I mean, I have to give it to him. Clever.
Yep.
I mean, the
it
umpire
managed to work because the umpire, like, you called him out, and the umpire was not fooled.
I mean, look,
the umpire was fooled, rather.
The umpire's an idiot. But, like, because if I'm not mistaken, like, I could be wrong, but like from what the pictures I've seen, the foam rubber ball, it looks smaller than an actual baseball. But like,
and the umpire was standing right there, like next to Frazier.
That was my next question. Was he like close, or was he?
Oh
like,
yeah,
down
he ran over to the area where like he caught the ball. Like, he was standing pretty much like maybe 3 feet away from Frazier and called him out.
Okay.
And I didn't see after was, how did Frazier like dispense of the ball? Like, what did he did he
give it to the pitcher?
Like, yeah, like, what did he throw it in the dugout? Like, what happened? I don't know, but sneaky play there. I like the creativity.
I hate it, but I love it at the same time. I'm glad. It was creative. But man, you got to pay attention there, umpires. Come on.
Yeah, really.
Killing me.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up this week of In Case You Missed It. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week. I try to get some pretty good stories this time around.
I will say you're holding the end of, you have been getting good stories. I like it. Keep it up.
All right. Well, go ahead.
We're gonna move on to just finish up the podcast. Some more NFL stuff. The big story from the NFL right now, with one of the best players in the NFL, Le'Veon Bell. It's like, we talked about this in our NFL predictions podcast. It's been well documented that this guy is not getting, him and the Steelers are having contract talks, but it's not going anywhere, and he's been holding out. And the idea was that, okay, he'll come back for the first game of the season. However, we're not sure about that anymore. There's a lot of people saying he's going to sit out till like week 10, week 11, because I'm not going to pretend like I know the rule, but I think there's some rule. If you don't have a contract by then, like something happens, I don't know. I'm like,
the team technically could waive the fine,
right?
But I'm not sure in this case if they would.
Yeah, so it's a big story, obviously, because of the status of. I mean, I think Le'Veon Bell is, in my opinion, I know maybe numbers don't back it up, but like I said, I think I said this on another podcast. I just the way he's shifty, I think he's the best. I think he's the best in the NFL. But it was interesting. The interesting part of the story is what Le'Veon's teammates had to say about it. The offensive line, basically, I know, there was one guy, I don't know if it was Villanueva who said it, their offensive lineman, but basically they're like, look, we do the job for this guy, and, we get paid a lot less than he does. And basically a lot of the Steelers like, dude, fuck this dude. Like, he left us behind. And then you had Antonio Brown come out yesterday and be like, Antonio Brown is just like a funny dude to me, man. Like, he's just like, dude, we love you, blah blah blah, stuff like that, and it's causing a lot of turmoil. And I mean, the Steelers locker room for sure, it looks like. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look, it's a big problem. Like, I in the NFL predictions podcast, I said I think Le'Veon Bell is going to have an MVP season uh, based on him not having a contract and he wants to show out. But um, again, like he might not be playing for the first 11 weeks. Obviously, that's going to shoot his chances. In my opinion, I think it's worth. I think he just play the whole season again for that reason to get. If he doesn't play the whole season, he'll still get a lot of money, but he could really show out this year and like really solidify, a large number with a big guarantee.
Well, if he doesn't hold out for like the first few weeks, then maybe. But like if he's really holding out as long as it seems like he's intending to, then he's kind of going to be a distant memory in a way. Like he may have like a few like really good games, between week 10 and 17, but at the end of the day, the big story around his head is going to be, he could have performed a lot better if it wasn't for this long ass holdout.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think honestly he leaves after this season because it's been the last few years they haven't been able to get a contract sorted. He thinks, and obviously any player thinks this way. He thinks he's worth
Right.
a lot more than the team does, but in his case, he thinks he's worth a lot more than the team thinks. And a lot of teams have problems paying guys that aren't the QB position, the cornerback position. He's a running back, and as good as running, he is. The running back shelf life in the NFL is not very good. They take a
Right.
beating. So you don't want to pay this guy and then him have a career-ending injury. Like I said, I think in my opinion, I think it's in his best interest to play the whole year. But I see he's trying to make a point. And like I said, the backlash from the Steelers teammates has been the most interesting case about this. A lot of things came out 2 days ago now, or 2 or 3 days ago, where a lot of people were saying, you know, like you had reporters saying, yeah, this offensive lineman for the Steelers said, you know, like fuck Le'Veon essentially, and it's crazy. Like this guy is Antonio Brown and him are their best players, and they're kind of dissing him.
I found the comment.
Okay, good.
So it was Marquise Pouncey.
Okay.
If I'm saying that right. He
Yep,
said, so on Le'Veon Bell's agent suggesting he'd like to know Zero's plan for the running back this year. That's just stupid. He can't play football like that. And he's done with the absence. He said he prefer Bell just stay when he's going to show up, even if it's week 10. Why play hide and seek? Why let your agent say this? Just man up and tell us what you're going to do. So that was the big thing that went around.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Antonio Brown, who posted a picture basically, we'll be ready when you get here kind of thing. And,
yeah.
And total support of that. And it's, man, it's gotta suck. Like, I don't know how you're his teammate and you kind of support this decision. I really don't get it because, like, from playing sports over the years, right? And listen, there was no money involved with the sports that I played. So, I wouldn't have to worry about this, but I feel like I'd be pissed, right? Like that I have a teammate who's holding out just for himself. And listen, Le'Veon Bell deserves the money he gets, like best running back in the league kind of thing. But it's annoying. Like,
yeah,
the fact that he's not thinking of the team and everything else. And to me, this is what I don't get. So he's not playing week 1 to protect his long-term value. Is anybody doubting that long-term value? That's what I don't get here.
Yeah, I mean, it also, I think the big thing is you're just really trying to make a point, and also, I mean,
it doesn't need to.
I know
it's
an interesting situation. I will say that I kind of agree, and now and the point about that is like I said, this could potentially be his last year, and he's a key part of your team. Like I would want him back because this, not having him next year and Big Ben being as old as he, is, I think that, maybe their window is closing a little bit. So, you want to have Le'Veon there. I'm sorry, closing in terms of, them getting a Super Bowl. I think they'll still be a playoff team and stuff like that. But to get the actual goal, I mean, I think without Le'Veon, I don't think this team wins a Super Bowl. So you want to have him there, especially if it is his last year, to play out and show out. And even if he does leave, give it a it's also a respect thing too. I agree with you. I do side with Le'Veon a little bit though, because like I said, I think he should get the money. It's been the last few years he's been franchise tagged, and he just wants his money, man. Like, and I think he deserves it. Like I said, I think he's one of the better. I think he's the best running back in the league, in my opinion.
Right.
I think he deserves it, but it's been honestly astonishing, the backlash again, like from the teammates saying stuff and a lot of the stuff out of the Pittsburgh media. It's been interesting. So we'll kind of see how that goes. That could be, if he does end up holding out, it's gonna be big for the NFL. I still think, like I said, that's the Steelers' vision. I think is weak, so I think they'll take it anyway. But you have a lot of different variables happening if Le'Veon doesn't play, and rip to any fantasy owners that took him if he does hold out. So
yeah,
it's a big story, but that is hopefully something that'll iron itself out. We're gonna move on to our last topic here, which is a fun one. I'm really actually looking forward to this. So basically, we're going to start kind of a new segment on the podcast in the NFL season. Every week, we have 3 games. What we think is, some of maybe not the biggest games of the week, but games that are intriguing. So we have 3 games, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick the winner of each game, and we're going to kind of have a standings throughout the season to see who does best. We'll also make like a score prediction. Maybe that can be like a tiebreaker or something like that. We'll kind of see how things go. We're trying to still iron it out, but essentially we're going to have predictions every week, and then kind of see how that goes. And then we're also talking about having recaps for the NFL too. The NFL is always a juicy topic. There's a lot to talk about, so we'll always have NFL stuff. But I digress. Right now, we're going to be talking about the 3 games we have highlighted this week is Houston at New England, Kansas City at the Chargers, and Dallas at Carolina. All Sunday games. The Houston New England game being a 1:00 game, and the Kansas City Chargers game and the Dallas Panthers game is the 4:00 games. So what we'll do is we'll start with Bob. Again, computer went off. Love this. We're going to start with Bobby. We're going to go to Brendy, then me. We'll give our prediction for each game. So we'll say the score, and then obviously the score will determine the winner. And and we'll kind of keep a tally throughout the season. So Bobby, you can start with Houston and the Patriots.
Okay. All right. So again, those who don't know, I'm a Patriots fan. There's a lot of weird things surrounding the Patriots right now that worry me. The fact Julian Edelman's not there, and we really don't have as much of the receiving power as we did. It worries me a little bit, especially in this scenario against a team like Houston that's still led by J.J. Watt. But I think we still get the edge on this. I don't know, but part of this prediction is also the fact that Sean Watson's coming back. I think he's going to be a little shaky on his return back because it was an ACL tear, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah, ACL.
Yeah, it was an ACL tear last year. So I think he's going to be a little shaky in game 1, especially in the first half. Just trying to get his bearings. He might get it in the second half and start getting some points, but I think New England still edges this out for this game. And I got 31-21 in favor of the Patriots.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the score?
31-21.
As I'm thinking, Bobby, make sure you write these scores down so we actually remember what we said.
Yep, I got them.
Okay, cool. Brendy, go ahead.
All right. So unlike Bobby, I am not a Patriots fan. Quite the opposite, actually. 28-3.
Wow, you just barred yourself.
Yeah, I fucking did. But here's my reasoning behind the Patriots and the Texans. I believe that the Patriots, quite honestly, are going to have one of the worst defenses in the NFL this season. I don't necessarily believe that's too hot of a take based on last season, especially. Bobby, you can feel free to disagree if you want.
On the Pats defense, you said?
Yeah, the Pats defense, quite honestly, just atrocious to say the least.
I don't think it's going to be atrocious. I don't think they're going to be as good as they've been. But
yeah,
I still see them in like a mid-range defense.
Yeah, and you also got to remember last year they didn't have Dante Hightower the whole year, so that was a big loss.
All right. Well, I'm keeping up with the Texans. I've been doing that a lot recently. I've been following them. I thought Deshaun Watson has looked pretty good so far, and of course, with J.J. Watt, and that whole defense in general is really good. And it's obviously hard to tell what the Patriots are going to do without Edelman, like you said. So I'm going to pick Houston to beat New England 28-24 in a really close, maybe like last possession kind of game.
All right.
And then my prediction, I think this game is going to be one of those games where the rust is going to really show for each team more than any team across the league. With the Patriots, Bobby already kind of highlighted it. They have Edelman's not going to be there for the first 4 weeks. Amendola is no longer there. You kind of get some turnover there. I think Deion Lewis isn't there anymore. So it's Deion Lewis, right? Because they have White and Deion Lewis. I'm trying to think who went to the Titans. Either way, there's turnover there. Also, that offensive line, they lost a couple pieces. I think it's going to take a few weeks for them to kind of get, where they're usually at. The Patriots, we know. And the same thing for Houston. I mean, we talked about how injured they were last year. I think, Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to be a superstar in the league one day. I think this week is going to be a little bit of a struggle for him, just coming back from the injury. I'm going to go with 24-21 Patriots.
All right.
So then the next game, we have the LA Chargers at home against the Chiefs, and Bobby can take that.
Sorry, I was typing something, but okay. So Chargers and Chiefs. All right. So all right. I think the Chargers are going to have another strong showing this season. What I'm more going to focus on in my prediction is Kansas City. So they have Mahomes now. I'm not sold. I'm not. Especially against a team like the Chargers. What was it? I think in the preseason, he threw 1 or 2 interceptions or something like that. What was it?
I don't know. I don't know what the number is. I know that is the big concern with him. Is his turnovers.
Right. So, and against the Chargers, you really can't be doing that. So if in this regular season game, I think he had one other with Denver, right? One other regular season.
Yeah, it was the last game of the season last year. The Chiefs had already clinched, and the Broncos, were wherever they were, 5-10 at that point.
Right.
And both teams were playing backups, and he torched them. But again, it was all backup, so it's you gotta take that with a grain of salt.
So I'm saying with Mahomes playing the way that it's kind of been talked about with his turnovers, and the Chargers having a pretty good offensive power. I say that the Chargers take this one, and especially they have the home field advantage, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty hot there in terms of how the fans are going to be. So I'm going to say Chargers win 28-14.
All right. Well, I'll do a little bit of team analysis. I'll say I really have a lot of high expectations for Travis Kelce for Kansas City. Mm-hmm. I believe if Kansas City can make the playoffs, with like 9 or 10 wins, I believe it will be mainly because of him making some clutch plays instead of Patrick Mahomes. With that said, if Patrick Mahomes turns out to be a fucking baller, that would certainly help their case. But I'm going to focus a little bit more on the matchups like that the Kansas City and the Chargers have had in the past. The Chargers have never played Kansas City well, ever.
No, they haven't. That is one thing, though, that the Chargers never can beat Kansas City, even in post-season circumstances.
Right. They've always either been blown out or they've lost huge leads that quite honestly they shouldn't have. And I don't necessarily believe that this is going to be a season where any of that changes. I've got the Chiefs beating the Chargers 21-18.
18. Interesting score. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then for my predictions, um, I was saying, I will admit, looking back on the predictions podcast, I'm starting to second guess myself with the Chiefs because, that is a good team. My uncertainty with the quarterback is one thing, but that is a very good team. However, I do really like the Chargers this year. I'm gonna say it. I know you guys, Brendy's not gonna agree, but I think they are a potential Super Bowl, contender. I really do. I really like this team. I think that defense is elite. That's not a hot take. Fuck you. So one thing worth noting that I forgot to mention in the predictions, it's kind of a weird thing. Last year, the Chargers play in a soccer stadium right now, and last year they had a lot of away fans there, and it almost didn't feel like home field advantage. It's kind of funny because that could be a big factor. And one thing that I forgot to mention is the Chargers actually use a silent snap count at home, which is unheard of because obviously when you're home the fans are more quiet because you're on offense and you can actually hear yourself think. But with them having, them playing at home and having so many away fans, they actually use a silent snap count, which is a little bit harder in a lot of people's opinions to play with.
Can you define that? This is the first I'm actually hearing about this.
So essentially, a silent snap count is when they teams use it for away games because they can't hear. So they'll use when you're home, you can yell and your receivers and linemen can hear what you're saying, but when a lot of away teams use a silent snap count because they're not going to be able to hear over the fans, so they'll do their hand signals and all that
Right.
stuff, and that's basically what it is, and that's what the Chargers you have to use at home.
Mhm.
And it's a lot harder to communicate that way. At least, obviously it's not that hard because they do it all the time, but it's harder than doing it on a regular snap count. So they'll, do communicating that way. They'll use hand signals, stuff like that. It's interesting. It's an interesting little thing. Yeah, I still think, like I said, I really like LA this year. And then real quick, just touch on Kansas City. Mahomes is going to be his first. I know it's going to be his second regular season game, but it's really going to be his first. Like I said, that game last year meant nothing, and teams were playing backup, so I don't really, count that. So I think he is going to struggle against a really good defense that are going to throw different looks at him. I have the Chargers winning 21-10. And then our last game here, excuse me, is Carolina. Dallas at Carolina. And Bobby, you can go with your prediction.
All right, so here's the thing. This is going to be, I feel like, a weird game to watch. There are a lot of holes in both of these teams. Dallas does not have the receiving power anymore without Dez, but they have Ezekiel Elliott still on the back, so I'm sure he's going to be the main focus on Dallas's offensive side. They're going to give him the ball a lot, and he'll get the points. Don't you worry. What I also see is Carolina. Carolina has a little bit more receiving power than Dallas does. Their defense is not really up to par, but also the Carolina offensive line is also a concern. So I think Dallas, just with Ezekiel Elliott mainly leading the way on this whole game, that they'll just edge it out over Carolina 24-21.
All right, and this is actually where I kind of disagree.
Okay.
I'm not sold. I think Dallas has more holes than you pointed out. I believe the best thing that they have going for them is the offensive line. But other than that, I'm not necessarily sold on. I'm not necessarily sold on Dak Prescott. And like you said, they don't really have a receiving core. If anything gets them into the playoffs, it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott and the offensive line, just how it was in the 2016 season. Basically, I believe that the Carolina Panthers have a strong enough run defense to at least somewhat contain him. It all depends. I think this is going to be I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game for Carolina, but not necessarily Dallas. So I'm going to have Carolina taking this one 28-10.
Wow.
And
Really?
my prediction, honestly, I have a lot of the same points as Brendy. I think Dallas is going to be an interesting team to watch this year because, Zeke is one of those players that can carry a team, and they have a good enough offensive line where he can get, rushing yards and kind of open up things for Dak. But when we were talking about our NFL predictions, I strongly considered having Carolina as one of the better teams in the league. I really like maybe not the better teams in the league, but winning that division. I really like the additions they made on offense. Finally giving Cam some weapons. That defense is not as good as the defense that got them to the Super Bowl and in the previous years. I think they got a lot of holes at the cornerback position. You still got Luke Kuechly in the middle. I think I think, as Brendy said, I think this is going to be somewhat of a high-scoring game. I'm not too keen on Dallas's defense either, but I have Carolina winning this one 31-17. And we actually have some breaking news into the podcast. So, Brendy, I'll let you take that.
All right, so guys, I just not going to spend much time on this, but this is kind of some pretty sad breaking news that I just wanted to bring to you guys really quick. Rapper Mac Miller, hip hop artist, has passed away at the age of 26.
What?
That's why he's trending right now? Okay.
That's exactly why.
Because I was on Twitter. What?
He is apparently passed away from an apparent overdose, according to TMZ, this afternoon.
Whoa! Wow. Okay.
I don't have my phone on me, so I wasn't.
Yeah, I was on Twitter.
Crazy,
I was on Twitter, and I was doing stuff on the Complex Twitter account, but I saw he was trending, but I thought it was going to be something about I don't know, him out of the drama with him and Ariana Grande, or some new album or new release or something. But no, wow, what the hell, man?
Yeah, so I hate to break that to you guys, but it's some pretty major news. I actually saw it from a tweet from Zach.
Wow, man, Jesus. Okay, yeah. So I mean, obviously not sports related, but still prominent as ever.
Right,
man. Well, prayers for anybody who's been affected by that and his family, etc. Yeah, that's shitty. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got nothing else. That really sucks.
It's shocking. I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm reading everything now. Yeah,
I'm just I mean, I think it's with anybody who passes away at an age like that, it's tough to handle, and then obviously him being as prominent as he was. But on that somber note, I guess we're gonna end the podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate you guys listening. If you liked the podcast, give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We will be back next Friday, for you, Monday, and giving some more hot takes, I'm sure. But we'll see you next week.
And by the way, I just wanted to make a point out. If there's any you viewers, anybody who has some suggestions for anything you guys want to talk about, whether that's something news related or one of the, we usually do 2 big conversation topics each podcast that we kind of go on about, and it could be about anything. It doesn't really have to be anything current. But if you have any ideas, we'd be happy to hear them either on our Twitter, twitter.com/Complaint or here on our YouTube channel in the comments. I just wanted to point that out to everybody.
Yep. And we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.